So, when I ask, what is Odoo? What comes to mind? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But some people also say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. I mean, whatever your business needs. Manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So, what is Odoo? Well, I guess Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it. Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This is Stephanie Díaz de León.
This is Omar Waheed.
And this is Rob Chappell.
And it's 365 Amplified.
We are not going to have a guest today because we mentioned last week, Tony Castaneda has jumped into the race for District 76 in the State Assembly. He was scheduled to come on today and unfortunately had to reschedule. So we'll have him on next week. So tune in next week to get to know Tony Castaneda. Most people already know who that is probably, but to get to know him as a politician, which is new for him, I think. So today we got a couple of sort of fun, artistic kind of things. And then we've got some kind of boring county government kind of things. Boring but important. So we'll do the fun things first. How about that? Omar, you got to talk to Dee Star, right?
I did. I would say the artsy things are even more important than the county.
Yeah, I was going to say
you could make a case for that. Yes.
I was going to say they all have a level of importance for different reasons in different ways.
Yep.
It's more important to them.
Yeah.
100%.
But also impacts people's access to home, food, money, and such like that.
Who needs that? Right. What you should really be worried about is big things are happening for Dee Star, the host of the Out of Dee Box podcast. If you don't know what that is,
friend of our show, and you can. He's been on a couple times.
Yes, it really gives an inside look into the vulnerable experiences for people and their families who have been impacted by being incarcerated. It's a very sobering show, and it's very, very good.
Yeah, it's an amazing show.
Some big things are happening for Dee Star. Three big things. He's first has gotten his own day in Sun Prairie, Dee Star Day on February 3rd.
Awesome.
I wish I would have known before.
Yeah, that's what you tell Dee. You call those for those things.
We could have been there, but it's going to be around Dee Star Day, February 3rd in Sun Prairie. Also, he is going to be the first podcast, the Out of Dee Box podcast is going to be the first podcast enshrined at the Wisconsin History Museum and the Sun Prairie Historical Society.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I don't necessarily know what that means. I don't fully understand why, but as far as I'm understanding, it's the impact that he's made specifically documenting the experiences of people who are incarcerated in such a way that it's never been done before.
Exactly right. Yeah.
He's being honored for doing something that's never been done. And he's excited about it, but the feeling hasn't really sunk in. He's like, oh, I'm still doing the work. I honestly haven't thought about it that much.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is it. He's excited for it. He knows it's a big deal, but it hasn't fully hit him about the significance of this and the milestone that this means, and especially the work he's been doing. He's only been doing this for a little under 4 years, and to already have such a claim it's gigantic.
It is, yeah. And I know there's been. I remember talking. Him and some folks around him talking about this over the past couple of years, and just how he has been hearing from folks that it is historic what he's doing, that he's documenting, because the Historical Society and Historical Museum is all about documenting things for posterity. right? And that's what they're collecting, is so that people can look back 50 years from now and see what life was like in 2025, 2026. And Dee is documenting these experiences, these lives, these people who are impacted by the justice system and are, reintegrating into society or have reintegrated into the community. And that's it's nice to have that, the importance of that recognized. Exactly how it goes, like, is it on a USB drive or
floppy disk?
Yeah, we're not sure exactly what that means, but I think it's very, very cool.
Well, there's that. Also, when we talked to him, he just found out a few minutes before that he would be receiving a legislative citation.
Oh, cool.
Which is an award for community members, organizations who have achieved significant milestones. So he is actually getting that Thursday, the day of our recording.
Oh, cool.
At 7 p.m. at Sun Prairie's Lions Club. Hoping to talk to him after about that. They're not letting us go to that. Don't know why. Social clubs, they don't really like reporters there, in my experience. But big things for Dee.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
And then the other thing you have going on this week, Omar, you went to what school was it?
Kennedy Elementary School.
And there was an artist residency there that was just wrapping up, right? Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I was very, very excited for this. Glad I went to this. There is a hip hop artist residency. Lex, he does clean hip hop. He's an author. He's a poet. He's a DJ. He's an educator, and he actually used to be a teacher at MMSD at Mendota. He was with AmeriCorps and also taught 4K. But he did move. He moved to Michigan, and now he's back just for a little bit to rap for the children. Very clean, talks about children processing their emotions in a very, surprisingly, very high quality way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen these types of performances historically. They feel like corny after school specials. His didn't. It was actually very, very high quality. I was talking to him about that. I mentioned that. He's like, yeah, I agree. Because I tried really hard not to make it seem like something, kids would groan at, or like, It's the kids were really involved. Let's talk about, understanding that it's okay to feel your emotions and what to do when you feel your emotions. And then he works in pedagogy with it, and especially hip hop pedagogy, pedagogy? I don't remember how to say that word ever, anytime. Madison is one of the birthplaces of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Pedagogy.
Yeah.
There we go. I forget how to say it each time. It just never sticks in my head. But he was here for 2 weeks. He went across to 16 schools at MMSD doing his performances, going in classroom, bigger performances for all the students at the same time. So it's a really good time. Something cool. I would have taken my nieces to.
Right. Yeah. And what's interesting, it talks about expressing emotions and demonstrating an artistic and a constructive way to express emotions. But you're also right. University of Wisconsin is one of the places where hip hop pedagogy became a thing, with Professor Michael Dando, for example, and Rob Dees got involved in that. At the library, it's very, very cool. It's still a relatively new area of educational research. Is bringing hip hop into the classroom. Very cool. Thank you for that, Omar. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with the digging into some county government things. Attention sales types. Come work with me at Wisconsin's coolest little nonprofit community news outlet. We are hiring a dynamic, energetic media sales professional to support the work we do to keep our community informed and amplify the voices of our neighborhoods. We offer a base salary plus commission, as well as health insurance and a 403B retirement plan. Learn more and apply at madison365.org/jobs. And we're back. And speaking of Madison Metro School District, one of the things also that we reported this week is there's already beginning to lay the foundation for next year's budget, which
Yes.
we don't need to dig too deep into the weeds, but it doesn't look great.
No.
It hasn't for a while, and it does seem to be getting worse.
Yeah. The other budget thing we found out about is
Though, can we also mention why that is happening?
yes.
So many reasons.
So many reasons.
So many
But
reasons.
I think it's important to name why that is happening.
And that's important because it's also relevant to the next thing we're going to talk about,
Yes.
which is the state legislature
Uh-huh.
is hoarding all the money
Yeah.
and is not distributing it in a way that some people would say is proper. Dr. Gothard, the superintendent, has mentioned this. He actually was a superintendent in Minnesota, where the state legislature will actually fund 60 to 70% of every school district's budget. In Wisconsin, it's 5%.
Mm-hmm.
So you're left up to funding almost your entire school district with local property tax.
And that doesn't bode well for places like small towns or Milwaukee.
Right, exactly.
Well, and also at the federal level, special education funding has been cut.
Yeah.
So we are also trying to fill in gaps that used to come from a rather larger source too. So like it's not just that, your kids are more expensive, right? Or
the school districts are being irresponsible.
Yes. They may be. That's a whole other conversation. But really what we're talking about right now, what's impacting them is that the state legislature right now has not shared funding the way that it traditionally has. So it's not going to be just MMSD that's impacted, right? You're going to hear around the county other schools also saying that we've been hit and we have a gap coming up here, and we're going to have to ask for you all to give us more funding. That's what all those little references are going to show up again. Mm-hmm. But also at the federal level, there have been gaps in federal funding for specific things for school districts, including special education, right? And when you have that cumulative sort of like, we're all going to hoard the money at a government level, at a state and federal level, our local schools are the ones that are most harmed. Our local government, our local things are most harmed.
Yeah, and these aren't, at the federal level especially, it's not even necessarily long-term policy decisions. It's like money that was committed and allocated for schools has just been stopped. It's been keeping it.
Well, here's the schools still have a legal obligation to offer all these programs that are being cut.
Right.
They kept the money. They didn't get rid of the federal requirements.
Right. Yeah. So they still have to fund those. School districts still have to fund those, but now they have to do them like on their own with the current money that they do have, right? Which means that something else is not going to get paid, paid, which means that something else is going to come to you all in a referendum, right?
Right. Yep. And that's actually the other thing that happened this week is there was a lawsuit filed against the state legislature by a number of families and school districts who are basically saying that the current state of Wisconsin funding mechanism is unconstitutional because of what you said, Omar, is that it's federally required that we provide a free and appropriate education for everybody.
Yeah. And which, now gets into a point of like state rights versus, federal government.
States' rights to what?
Literally it's going to get into that, which is, we've heard different ways folks have all of a sudden claimed they're on one side versus another side of the argument. I would like to point out, so it'll be interesting to hear how our state defends itself against that. Yep. Especially what sort of language they'll use. It'll be interesting to say, are we going to be, this on this side? Are we Federalists today, but tomorrow we're not? It'll be interesting to see and hear. And again, all of those things still cost money and will take away from the schools again in a different way. Yep. So,
and we're also feeling that at the county level. The county board supervisors will tell you that the shared revenue formula that the state is using right now is not appropriate, not adequate, and disproportionately affects Milwaukee and Dane counties, which is not a coincidence, probably.
Yeah.
And one result of that, plus some other factors, is that the county budget is also looking pretty dire, going to 2027. the controller, then County Controller Chuck Hicklin, prepared a memo for County Executive Melissa Agard, who then forwarded that on to county supervisors. It wasn't released publicly, but it wasn't exactly secret either. So I got a hold of a copy, and I talked with Chuck about it just to make sure I was reading it right. But basically what it comes down to is in 2021 and 22, the county had some really unexpected increases in revenue through sales tax and some other things, and I think some COVID money too. And they ended those 2 years with surpluses of over $100 million, meaning that at the end of the year, they had like more than $100 million left over, which then they were able to use to cover the next year's expenditures. So those budgets, the next 3 or 4 budgets, were deficit budgets, meaning the county was spending more than it was bringing in, which is okay because they had money left over from last year. That money left over from last year is almost gone. So you can't really do deficit budgets anymore, but one of the ways they did deficit budgets is hiring a whole bunch of people. Like 30 or 40 people every year. Now we're in a position where the surplus from 2026 into 2027 is going to be only $7 million, which is $20 million less than it was last year. In addition to that, expenses that aren't really under these counties' control, which is to say health insurance cost and contractually obligated cost of living increases for employees, are going to go up by about $17 million. And what that adds up to, and then there's another like sort of $2 million that is kind of just one-time things. What that adds up to is you're losing $20 million of surplus, you're increasing your expenses by $17 million in ways that you can't really control, and then the extra $2 million, that's about a $31 million deficit going into from 2026 to 2027 with no surplus to cover it. So what that means is the county is going to have to cut, in order to balance the budget, if they want to balance it, they're going to have to cut about 9.5% of their expenditures, which could be easily done by cutting 241 people for full-time equivalent jobs. So I asked all the county board supervisors to comment on this. Only one responded, and he basically blamed the state, which is not incorrect, but it's going to be difficult to wait for the legislature to change hands and then completely revamp how they do shared revenue. That's going to take years. And in the meantime, Dane County is going to be limping along. So they're going to have to make some very, very difficult decisions.
What happened to that $7 billion surplus that they kept touting? We have all this extra money. Look at this.
The county?
The state. The state.
No, they're just keeping it.
They're just holding it.
They're just holding it.
They're hanging out with it.
Okay.
They're doing like what is that? Donald Duck's uncle?
Yeah, they're just rolling around in their pile of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, Robin Voss as Scrooge McDuck just rolling around all the money.
He is retiring.
Yes, he is retiring.
He is done. Like
he's done
he's
with all
gonna
this
pass
nonsense.
that
Yes.
onto somebody else.
Pass the torch to Derek Van Orden.
Yeah. The state keeps touting their rainy day fund, and I never understood that phrase. I'm like, why are rainy days more expensive? Why do you need a bunch of money for a rainy day as opposed to just a day when, I don't know. But is on the background of that sort of really dire budget situation that kind of Executive Melissa Agard also has ordered or directed staff to do a comprehensive review of county contracting practices, which is not exactly caused by the budget problem, but is definitely related to it. Because the county, as we talked about a couple weeks ago, the county does government by contract in many ways. And the government sort of delivery of government services, especially in the human services area, has been largely privatized, which means the government, rather than hiring a bunch of social workers, the county contracts with nonprofit agencies who hire social workers to do the work on the ground. But there's been some difficulties in those contracting relationships and how those contracts get awarded in ways that are not always equitable, and they're not always accessible to the smaller businesses, smaller nonprofits. So I talked with Melissa about that. I talked with John Schluter, who's the the director of human services, which is by far the county department that has the most contracts and does the most contracting. And I talked also with a few nonprofit leaders to say, if you could change the process, what would you change? And I got some really interesting responses. The word I kept hearing over and over again is transparency. Because it sounds like sometimes when you're bidding on a contract, you don't exactly know how much money is available. So you don't know what price to put on it without undercutting yourself. And local nonprofits don't love getting into price bidding wars with other nonprofits. But also, if you didn't get the contract, you don't know why. There's no feedback. And you never see the scores. You never see the other proposals, which causes some difficulty in terms of just knowing how things work in order to bid better next time. It's just there's a lot that goes right, but a lot that could be improved, and also a lot of inconsistency. If you're bidding on one contract one year and another contract the next, it might be different. It might be a different process, and a lot of these contracts they're trying to do like a 5-year project, but only giving out 1-year contracts at a time. So it's difficult, and there's nothing built in to increase. If you're a nonprofit agency and you've hired a social worker, that social worker is going to get a 2% raise every year just because that's sort of standard practice. But they don't allow you to build in 2% increases into the contract. So you're, as your nonprofit, you're actually losing money over the course of 5 years. So it's hard to survive on that. So a lot of interesting things, which like I said, might be a little boring if you're not a county contractor, but it's this is how government works, and this is how budgets get allocated. This is how your tax dollars go to work, and so it's important to just kind of check in on it.
In Dick Cheney's America, the legacy keeps going. Contract out the government,
always and forever. Also, for folks who are not aware, November feels so far away.
Yeah.
Right. But November 3rd is an important day because it's a rather important election day and such like that. And one of the things that we'll be voting on, which folks don't recognize, and is intentionally trying to go into a vote to folks, is a Republican-backed constitutional amendment that would prohibit any government entity, including UW, from having diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. So again, it is because they are aware that if they tried to pass it in any sort of bill, the governor had mentioned that he would, of course, veto it. However, to work around that, is to instead put it on the ballot. So on November 3rd, please read carefully and make your vote known, because this would have incredible impact in so many different things, not just UW, but any state agency and entity that has any diversity, equity, inclusion policies in place currently or in the future.
So many important things in November.
There are so many important things in November. I don't think people recognize and realize that.
Omar turns 30.
Omar's 30, you all.
Just for things to keep in mind. Some would say that's more important than
some would say
county contracting and DEI.
The other electoral thing is that there's the county board elections
in November.
In the spring.
Yeah,
no, in
in
April.
The spring. Yeah, coming up.
There aren't many seats up for grabs. There are only 2 or 3 competitive races in the county board. But one of the things that has happened is Melissa Agard, the county executive, will propose a budget, and then it goes to the county board, and they'll amend it. And last year, for the 2026 budget, the county board added $12 million of expenditures, while also cutting 31 positions. So, you have to maybe communicate with or find out if there's candidates in your district. Are you going to add a bunch of money to the budget? Or are you going to live in the current situation, which sucks that the state legislature is like this, but that's the reality of the situation right now.
Cutting 31 positions did not cover 12 million.
No.
No, not even close. And 20 of those positions were vacant, were sheriff's deputies that were vacant positions.
Yeah.
Which the sheriff did not appreciate.
Yeah.
But So we'll take another short pause and we'll come back for our question.
All right, so we're back, and I have a silly, ridiculous question that somebody else gave me that I thought was fun. And then it made us and we talked more about the question than our answers for a while, and we kind of did this here already, so we're just going to go right with the question. How large or at what point would you tell somebody, wait, how did I word this question? I'm doing this weird.
How large would a worm have to be?
Yeah, how large would a worm have to be before you would tell somebody about it?
You just saw a worm outdoors.
Yeah.
When would it become remarkable enough that you
at what point would you be like, I should tell somebody?
But this is outdoors, right?
Yes, because we already talked, the group that we were talking about it with realized, it has to be outdoors, because, if it's in your house, of course you're going to tell somebody else. It's like a mouse, a lizard, whatever vermin in your house, you will tell somebody about.
So we're in their house.
No, outside. Yeah, we're in their house. We are outdoors. We are in their area.
And we have the audacity to call them out.
To tattle. Not even to call them out, because I don't think if the worm is that.
For me too, how big does it have to be before you pull your phone out and take a picture?
And send it to somebody, however you want to do it, because that's telling somebody, right?
Yeah.
You're not taking that picture for yourself.
Right.
You're doing that
You're
to
gonna post it
share.
holy cow, look at this worm I saw.
I don't know that I would post it. I might send it to somebody, but I don't know that I would post it.
For me, I think 12.
And I know who, and also who would you send it to? Who would you, reach out to?
I think for me, if we're talking strictly worm, I think 12 inches. That's a big worm.
I'm thinking more diameter instead of length.
You're thinking
because there's long. I don't know if there are. I don't know.
I personally haven't messed around with too many worms, so I'm no expert on how to gauge their size. But I would imagine one that seems bigger than a cartoon one on a fishing hook during some episode about fishing.
Yeah.
Anything larger than that. Past that, like I said, we're in their house.
It's not my business. They can
be as big as they want outdoors.
But if they're really big, if they're the size of a
like a small snake.
A Subway sandwich. This is how I'm going to say it.
That's a very big worm.
That's a very big worm. I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to call somebody.
I would send it to my youngest niece.
I would send it to my friend Claudia to freak her out, because I'm not going to be grossed out. I can't be the only person grossed out.
I would send it to our youngest child.
Yeah, Amelia would just enjoy that.
Yes,
they would. They would say that was their old wormy friend from when they were little.
Yep, probably.
It grew up so strong.
And they would say, just like me.
Yep.
They grew through adversity. Shut up, child. Anyways, we will be back next week, so y'all.
Have a good weekend. .365 Amplified is produced and edited by me, Rob Chappell, and is a production of 365 Media Foundation, a nonprofit, local, independent media organization in Madison, Wisconsin. Wherever you're listening to this right now, hit the subscribe or follow button to get new episodes every Friday. And between episodes, get your latest news at madison365.org and follow us on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. Wherever you get your news, we'll be there.